are you going to defend to me that things happen for no reason?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's almost undeniable.
Blue!
Oh, you're good?
Okay, no,
You all right?
things are happening for no reason. Excuse me.
Toma arigato.
On, fart grass green. Oh my goodness, look at that paint. A lot of no reason things are occurring in here right now. But you see, I asked a question. So you guys aren't used to being cross-examined.
No, I said
so I can see,
depends on your.
you can see the difficulty.
It would depend on your belief system. Obviously, you would argue yes, and I can see the logic from your belief system, right? I don't know if that's objectively true, though. So I can see why you believe it. That's what I said.
But what I asked was something different. If I believe that their sin will lead them to damnation eternally, and I desire to warn them against that sin, would it not be a good desire that I have?
Depends what you mean by good.
Well, that's a question you don't want to ask because you won't be able to come up with any standard, but I can. Good is that which corresponds to the character of God is universal. But I'm just saying, from your perspective, would it be a good thing from your perspective that I desire the best for the LGBTQ community by having them repent?
You say,
like, you keep saying that people have no standards, but literally by having the rainbow flag, we are upholding some standards. Whether they are objective or subjective is irrelevant. They are still standards which we uphold to.
First of all, I never said you don't have standards. You might want to go to Carm and read the article, Can Atheists Be Moral?
Well, you did just say.
I thought maybe I misheard. Maybe I misheard, and if I did, that was my bad. But I thought you said that you have no standards. So if I was wrong,
you couldn't come up with a standard.
Oh yeah, that was right. Yeah.
No standard of good. Yeah,
I can come up with many standards.
Yeah, I don't do well with multiple speech because you guys know I'm autistic and have an auditory problem, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Matt. Billy, do you want to just talk to Matt about this? I think you're the best person.
Why would I be the best?
I'm not trying to be.
Because you're so good at philosophy. Okay, go ahead, Billy.
And I'm very just to be clear, I'm very straight, right? It's not because of
we know. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just putting that out there for anyone, Okay, so yeah, I'm saying that I do have standards. I have many standards. I'm mostly a utilitarian. I believe it's wrong to cause pain unnecessarily in most cases. I'm a vegan, pretty strong vegan. I think it's immoral to hurt and kill animals if it's not necessary. I believe in looking after children, the future generations. So yeah, I mean, I have many standards.
Let's talk about the children thing, because that's something that's very dear to me. It's always been for some strange reason. So do you think it's a good thing to have kindergartners be exposed to drag queen stories and cross-dressing and stuff like that in kindergarten?
Maybe sometimes not. Don't see a problem with it.
You don't see a problem with men dressing like women and pretending to be women and going in for kindergartners?
Wait, but what do you mean by woman?
A woman is someone who has XY chromosomes, has breasts, has vaginal area, the female stuff like that. That's what a woman is. I don't know if you know that or not, but it has been that way for eons.
Well, I have a different understanding of woman. I mean, I have. No, it's all G. I mean, I take. There's two
let's get back to
different
this.
words.
Let's get back to the children.
Oh wait, but this is important though. This is important because I take it that there's two different uses of the word woman. There's, first of all, I take it there's to be a biological sex. So if your biological sex is woman, then you have XX chromosomes, and so that's what I take the biological sex. And then there's a gender definition of woman, which is defined by the World Health Organization as the characteristics and traits typically associated with men, women, boys, and girls. And so under that definition, you can have someone with XX chromosomes, but their biological sex is male, but their gender is female. And so I don't see a problem with someone who has XX chromosomes, but identifies as a male.
Okay, so about the children, do you think it's a good thing for children to be exposed to drag queens, LGBTQ agenda in kindergarten?
I don't think it's a good or a bad thing. I think it's neutral.
So it's not bad then, right?
No, I don't view it as
it's not bad. Okay, so it's not bad to do that. So if the parents say they don't want it, then who should have the final say, the state or the parents?
That's a really interesting question. I'm not sure how to answer that. I think it would come down to the particular cases, right? I mean, there are certain religious freedoms which I think should be impinged upon. I think there are some religions who against. I think you're going to agree with me.
You scared the freaking crap out of me. Wow.
I think you're.
You're a totalitarian.
Whoa. I think you're going to agree with me in about 5 seconds. So there are some religions who will allow their children to die because they think it's immoral for their child to get a blood transfusion. I think those religious freedoms should be impinged upon to save the life of the child. Do you disagree with that?
That's a different topic. So I'm asking you specifically, you're talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses and then their blood transfusion stuff. I have articles written on it and things like that, and the state comes in. And then you're talking about the issue of within Christianity. And they're a non-Christian cult. There's a lot attached there. What I'm intrigued about is the idea that when the parents say, no, we don't want, it's not blood transfusions to save a life. That's not the same thing. A kindergartner, okay? And you want to have transvestites and queer and cross-dressers come in and teach them about sexuality. So you say that's okay. So, and I'm going to ask you, so who has, oh my goodness. Wow. So who has the final authority, the state or the parent in that situation?
Okay. So I just want to recapitulate that when you said, you scared the crap out of me when I said that I think certain religious freedoms should be impinged upon. It seems like you didn't disagree that in the case that I gave that, that those religious freedoms to basically kill the child should be impinged upon. But I will try and answer your question. So the case you're representing is specific, right? That there are parents who do not want their children to be, exposed to the LGBTQ plus community, and they don't want their children to see transgender people or something like that.
They want them to be taught sexuality by strangers who cross-dress. Okay? So is it the right of the parent of the child to say, I don't want someone in a state-run school telling my child what is sexually right and wrong? Does the parent have that final authority, or does the state have the final authority?
The reason why, and I'm not trying to be evasive, but the reason why I'm having difficulty answering this question is because it's a very broad question, and in certain cases I might say that the parents should have the right to educate the child. In certain cases I think it should be the state should get involved, right? I mean, like, let's say
I gave you a specific. Okay.
No. I mean, it's very broad. I mean, like,
no, it's not.
If you're saying that, okay, should schools be allowed to teach teach children that it's okay to have same-sex relationships. Do you want to go with maybe that example?
No.
No.
I want to go with the example that I know has really happened, and I want to know about you in this one thing. We're just using this as a, as a starting point. Do you think it's okay, or who has the final authority to teach sexual morality to the kindergartners, the parents or the state?
Do I want drag queens to teach kindergartens how to have sex?
Do you want to have, I said, who has the final authority? Final authority. I keep asking that. The parents or the state when it comes to teaching sexuality to kindergartners?
I think it's whoever has the right view should have the final authority.
Yeah, I hope sincerely before my Lord, I hope you never gain power.
Are you asking who does on whose show?
Because
I don't think
I
don't think anybody should teach kindergartens how to have sex. Like drag queen or no, like kindergartens should learn to play with Lego.
Perhaps I misunderstood you. It certainly seems as though you're contradicting yourself now. So you're saying that the parents have the final say. Is that what you're saying?
No, I never said that. If parents going to say, yes, I want my kindergarten child to be taught how to have sex by a drag queen, I'm going to be like, no, what the hell are you doing? Your kindergarten child should not be taught how to have sex. If the state says that, I'm going to be like,
okay, well, you're a moral anti-realist, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So why are you saying they shouldn't?
Because that's what I desire.
Okay, no offense, but that's it? Just because you don't like it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So if the parents don't like it, is it equal in power?
Not in my eyes.
You're a hypocrite. So for you, as long as what you think is right, that's okay. But if someone else has the same premise and thinks what you think is right is wrong, then that's a wrong for them. Yeah.
Well, it might be right for them. It's like, look, let's take this proposition.
Where's a wall? I'm going to bang my head against the wall.
Look, let's take this proposition, right? Chocolate cake is tasty, right? And you ask, is that proposition true or false? Well, it's just going to depend, right? Because that's a subjective proposition. So for me, I had chocolate cake yesterday, right? And for me, that proposition is correct, right? Chocolate cake is tasty. But for some sociopath, right, who for some reason doesn't like chocolate cake, that proposition is just going to be false. So to ask the question, is chocolate cake tasty? Is chocolate cake tasty? Is that true or false? Well, it's just an incoherent question because the answer to that question is going to depend on who you're asking.
You think then it's wrong for people to teach kindergartners in school context, transvestites, whatever, to teach them sexuality, right?
I think it would be wrong for anyone to teach kindergartens about sexuality.
You can't say it's wrong. You said there's no morals.
What I mean by wrong is I don't desire it.
So your desire is now what was morally right or wrong?
For me, yeah.
Well, I think it's more than that. It's what you think for others too, a lot of the time, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's my standards that I uphold, but I mean, I just don't care what anybody. I mean, I don't even care what God says, right? Like, if God tells me to torture my family to death, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna do it. I don't care what anybody says.
When you meet him and you talk to him, you won't be asking him any questions. You'll be making a mistake. You'll be sobbing in his holy presence, waiting in dread what's going to happen to you.
Okay.
Anybody else want to? I'm going to go to the top of the hour. So I'm actually getting interested more and more in LGBTQ stuff. I want to see the rationale. Why is it then that you never ever hear about a public debate on TV between a competent member of the opposing views. Why is that the case?
Of what view?
LGBTQ.
You never hear a competent representative of the LGBTQ plus whatever it is?
No, I didn't say that. I said a competent opposing view, a debate between two people who are very competent on the opposing views regarding LGBTQ. How come we don't hear that?
I don't know if that's the case, but let me give you an example. And I don't mean any type of disrespect at all by this, Matt, but I think a lot of Christians probably said that about you when you were on the Daily Show. But I don't think that you're incompetent.
No, they Frankensteined me. Put things together from different segments to make me say what I did not say. They lied.
I'm sure they did that.
What's that?
What they do?
I'm sure they did that, yeah.
Yeah, they did. I have the recording. They don't know it, but I recorded everything from the beginning to the end. And
well, they're in the business of making something entertaining.
Yeah. So. Even when they pursued me heavily and said that they would never do that, and then they did. But what do you expect? At least I got to give the gospel to somebody while I was there and stuff. So, but that's another topic. I'm curious to have more dialogues with people who are supportive of LGBTQ and what the reasons are. I want to know if the reasons have any merit. Apart from, I just prefer it.
That seems going to be very strange, right? Because what you mean by merit, presumably, is whether it conforms to your Christian standards. And obviously they don't. What do you mean by merit, then?
Do you have any logical, coherent reason to justify your position? Or is it arbitrary?
Well, it's going to be arbitrary because I take morality to be arbitrary.
So arbitrary. Okay, so it's not wrong if I come into your house and rob you.
It's going to be wrong based on my standards.
No, it's not. There is no morality for you. You just don't like it. Come on, be consistent.
Well, that's what morality is.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now you know what morality is, and you can say what it is universally?
Universally?
Yeah, you said morality is. That's what it is. You're making a universally true statement of you understanding what morality is.
Well, morality is just about what you should or shouldn't do, right?
Is it?
Is it? Yeah, that's my understanding. What else is there?
Okay, what do you base that on?
I think the dictionary, just what I've learned. What else is there?
So I'm just asking, what are you basing it on? If you go in a dictionary, if the dictionary changes, then the definition changes, and then you would adopt that new definition?
Well, that would tell me probably the general usage in society that dictionary reflects.
Societies change. Societies change. So if in 100 years something definitionally morally changes, which is correct?
I don't know where you're going with this, Matt, but what else is there to morality? What does morality mean?
If a dictionary today says morally good, and a dictionary 100 years from now says pedophilia is morally bad, let's just say, which dictionary is correct?
I don't think dictionaries work that way.
You said you cited a definition
of what morality means.
Okay.
Not what's good or bad, specifically.
So what is morality then?
Well, like I said, it talks about what you should and shouldn't do. That's what morality means.
And where do you should and shouldn't do? Okay, let's just go with that definition. That's what you should and shouldn't do, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I have standards of what is moral or not moral.
So do you affirm it?
Go ahead.
Do you affirm that definition as being true, that there are things you should and shouldn't do?
Yeah, I think there are things you should do and shouldn't do. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me something you should not do?
You should not steal my pizza.
All right. Why?
Because I wouldn't like it. It would feel bad.
Okay, here's one of my more famous, I'm known for this, a famous retort for a lot of people. It stops them in their tracks, and it's brilliant, I got to admit. Even though I'm saying about myself, it's pretty brilliant, I got to admit. And the word, it's a single word, retort. It's just simple. So, you don't like it. So, does it have any bearing on it if it's good or bad, or right or wrong?
Well, I've told you that I think it's good or bad. And if you don't care, I mean, that's on you.
You're the one who's offering a justification for your position, saying that something is right or not based on what you want, what you prefer. You certainly are not going to say that morality is based on what people prefer, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I prefer.
Can you just mute that person, please?
Who, that guy who's talking to me, or chewing? I prefer that you not
chewing
speak.
And like belching and like swallowing. Please just.
Yeah, I prefer that you not speak. I think morally you are wrong for saying everything you say that contradicts me. So am I correct?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, so you're not consistent with your own definition.
How am I inconsistent?
You offer your own basis of subjectivity and arbitrary position as why something is good or bad. So if I do the same thing, is it true? But if it contradicts what you believe, is it true?
Is what true?
Come on, you're not obtuse. You're not being trollish now, are you?
Do you mean that because I have my own standard, if you go by your own standard, I should agree with it? Is that what you're
showing? The incongruity of that kind of a philosophical position, that morality and truth are based upon one's opinions and preferences. Because if you hold to that, and then my opinion, my preference, or my moral belief is in contradiction to yours, the question then is, are both true, even though they contradict each other? What would you say logically?
No, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong.
Yeah, so you're saying then that truth, moral truth, is not based upon people's opinions because they contradict each other.
What? No, they are based on people's opinions. They're based on how you feel.
And if you feel that a certain sexual act is morally right, and I say it's wrong, is it right or is it wrong?
Again, it's subjective. And my opinion, my standard, is going to be the judge. I'm going to be the judge. Now, just because you might feel that you should be the judge of what you do subjectively doesn't mean I have to agree with it. That's why it's subjective. Conversely, though, say your preference coincides with mine. Do you think it's now objective?
The issue here is the determining.
Can you answer that?
I said no. The answer is no.
Wow.
And so the thing is, if you want to offer the position of determining moral truth based upon a person's opinion, what do you do when opinions contradict each other?
That's not a conflict for subjective morality.
I mean, it depends on what it is. I'm either I might shun you. I might, who knows?
Raping a 5-year-old girl, is that good or bad?
It's a silly question to ask. It's terrible.
No, it's not. It's not a silly question. Unfortunately, it happens, and I'd have to meet them in a back alley and talk to them about it in the dark. So, is it morally right or wrong?
It's terrible.
I didn't ask if it's terrible. Is it morally right or wrong?
It'd be wrong.
Okay.
Terrible. Terribly wrong.
So, if another person does it 5 years later in different places, is it also morally wrong?
All things considered, still terribly wrong, yeah.
So you believe in a universal truth of morality?
I don't know if that's what you call that.
Because you're believing the same action in different places and different time has the logical necessity of being wrong by nature. That's a universal. So what you're saying is
maybe it is. It's still based on my standard, though.
Yeah, your standard is that there's a universal moral. But if it's based on your subjective experience and preferences, how then is it universal?
I'm not sure that that's what universal is, but
for it to be a universal, it would have to be at all times and all places. But to show that JJ has the same opinion in 2 times doesn't establish that it's universal.
I grant that. So maybe JJ could try and give us an example where raping a 5-year-old. When I use the statement I use, which is a trap for the atheist, is a statement true or false? It is always morally wrong for anyone to torture babies to death merely for their personal pleasure. Is that true or false?
Do you remember?
Yeah, I think that's true.
So then if you say it's true, then you're saying there's a universal moral absolute.
Am I? I thought I was just giving you my opinion.
Yeah, your opinion is that there's a universal moral absolute.
My opinion will always be that, yes.
Yeah, your opinion is it's always wrong for everyone. So your opinion is, yes, there is a moral absolute because it's always wrong for everyone to do that.
But couldn't I be wrong?
So if you believe that that is a universal moral standard, how do you get that if it's just based on your subjective opinion?
It feels really bad.
Okay. So you see the incoherence of your position. I'm trying to show it to you. And this often happens when I get atheists this far. Is no offense meant, but they just basically go in circles. They can't go very far.
I don't know where else I need to go.
To the truth.
No, I mean, what's incoherent about it?
Do you believe in universal moral absolutes?
I might.
Are you an atheist?
But it depends on what we're talking about. It seems like there must be, though. And that is that I will always feel that way about them.
Let me ask you. I'm going to try and set you up. Okay, you ready?
And no, Matt, I'm a pantheist.
Oh, you're a pantheist. Okay. That has its own set of problems.
Like what? Like what?
Pantheism says God and the universe are one and the same thing, but the universe came into existence, which means your God came into existence. But how's that possible from a pantheistic worldview?
Well, it's not really known if the universe came into existence or not.
Yeah, logic requires it, and the evidence requires it.
I don't think so, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, we could discuss it.
How do pantheism works in mysterious ways?
Yeah, when you're a pantheist, you can say all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, you can. I wonder what the God of pantheism would do on a quantum level if he's coherent.
Do on a
quantum dominoes backwards on Wednesday.
Yeah, I like to say blue sleeps faster than Wednesday. That's what happens in the pantheistic quantum level.
Douchebag 9mm.
Douchebag 9mm.
That all might be coherent to God. It's not to me. I'm a mere mortal.
So anyway, I got about 4 minutes. I've enjoyed this. I do want to know why people want to support LGBTQ, what the reason is. The best reason I've gotten so far, the best, is because it's an arbitrary subjective desire.
The reason I support religious freedom, for the most part.
Support my religious freedom to condemn LGBTQ as sinful?
Yeah, I think it's rude, okay. But
well, I believe it's sinful. I do. I believe it's morally wrong to teach sexuality to kindergartners.
Oh, Matt, can you tell us the one story before you go about how, like, your daughter had like a friend over and they were like trans, and then like you convinced them? Yeah, go ahead.
No, you get about a 10th, fourth of it right.
What?
So one of my daughters, she's a model, and everywhere she goes, people go, "Hey, you're so and so," and she's pretty and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. Okay, so she's also very open-hearted, and she meets a lot of people. And so around Christmas, a couple years ago, she calls up. She's not living here with us. Empty nesters here. She calls up, goes, "Hey, Mom, Dad, come over for Christmas, spend the night." I go, "Sure, yeah, of course." Get up in the morning and open presents. She goes, but, and I know something's up. I go, "Yeah." Well, she goes, I met this new friend and just moved into the area. And I said, "Is a guy or girl?" She says, "Girl." I said, "Bring her over." Well, I said, I'm laughing. I go, "What?" "Well, she's in transition to becoming a guy." And I said, "Okay, bring her over." I said, "Let me go talk to Mom." Talk to Mom, talk to my wife, call her Mom, and talk to the kids. And she goes, "Yeah, bring her over." I said, I'd call my daughter or tell my daughter, "Yeah, no problem." "Are you serious?" "Yeah, no problem." "Why?" So she comes over. Her name's Mars, M-A-R-S. It's short for something. And what my wife and I did was we confiscated one of the presents from somebody and we just rewrapped it for her so that she'd feel welcome. She's transitioned to a guy, but I call her a girl. And so I don't know if she spent the night. I think she did. And she came over the night before and we treated her great. We didn't say anything. She doesn't know what I do for a living. Nothing. And we just treated her really great. I'm not going to jump all over her and say all this stuff. Next day, she gets up and we all have breakfast and she is loving it. And we, presents, we said, "Look, this is for you." I said, and they go, "What? You can't get you a present." I said, yeah. And we, she opened it and had a great time. And then she said later that she wanted to go run some errands and come back. And I said, "That's fine. Come on back." And she goes, "You guys are great." I said, "Yeah, hey, thanks." So she came back a few hours later and everybody's wondering what Matt Slick is going to say, the Christian apologist. Oh, she comes back a few hours later and we're all having fun and we're having dinner and people are enjoying their gifts. And I said, "Hey, Mars, I got a question." And the room went dead quiet. My daughters were there, wife's there, friends are there. Mars looks at me and I asked her a question. I said, "Why Mars? Why not Jupiter or Saturn?" And she loved that. She loved it. And I started making stupid jokes because she said she had to go someplace. I go, "Well, when you return, will that be from the perihelion or aphelion?" All these stupid planet jokes and solar system jokes. And she had a great time. I didn't say a thing to her about our Lord and about her confusion. And about a month later, she was over, feeling very comfortable here. And when the conversation was right, I said, "So do you know what I do for a living?" And she said, "No." And I told her. And she said, "Really?" She says, "So I talk about the things of the Lord and what's good and bad and right and wrong revealed from him." I left it wide open. And she's been back and she feels comfortable here. I don't approve of this. Oh, and she's since transitioning back to being a girl. So,
Matt,
that's the story.
Do you mind if I ask a couple questions before you go? I know you want to go.
Game over, lights out.
Yeah, that's fine.
You've just been completely obliterated.
Shut up while I'm talking, right?
You've been folded like a chair caught with your pants down.
Will you fucking shut him up? I want to respond.